Good evening and welcome to Princess Juliana International Airport. And today we're going to use my nearly released tool OSM2Airport to create an airport file for Tower Simulator 3. This will hopefully work well with the SDK, which is due to be released this week as I'm recording this. So let's get started. Welcome to OSM2Airport, and this will take the OpenStreetMap OSM data downloaded from the internet automatically and allow you to get a quick start on building airports. So let's start a new airport. I'm only going to put the minimum required here, which is the ICAO and the Latin long. For the Latin long, I'm going to pick a central spot. Often Google Maps will show a pin at the center location of the airport. The location for the pin is not very good here, so I'm going to right click here, grab the coordinates and paste them into the appropriate boxes here. And there we go. We have an airport. Well, we have a background of an airport. We'll bring in all the airport objects next, but before we do that, let's save this. All right, let's have a look around here. We've got a mini map here with a keyhole showing your current view on the big map in the back. And you can move around at will. You'll see a little bit of tiles coming in. That's just because I haven't covered this whole area. It will just take them on demand from internet servers so as to not to violate their usage policies. It is a live map, but it is all cached. You can choose your zoom levels from 15 through 19 with the background map, and there's a zoom level 20 available as well. That does not have the background map. So Control 5 will get you 15, Control 6, 16, Control 7, 17, and so on. The higher zoom levels can take a little bit to load up, particularly once you've got all the airport objects. All right, 19 finally came in there. We'll go back to 17 for the next step here. All right, let's bring in some airport data. We're going to go airport, import from OSM data. And the first time you do that for this site, it'll ask you if you want to download it. If you say yes, it'll bring up this dialog. Next time you come in here, it will just go straight to this dialog. We have 6 different types of things that we can bring in from the OSM data. We've got taxiways. We've got gates. Don't worry about the 2 different numbers. There's 2 different types of gates on the back end, but it shouldn't much matter to you once they're imported. We've got runways. We have got roads, and here you can choose the types of roads that you bring in, It will depend on the airport that you're modeling. This will be a different list, but here we're just going to grab the primaries. You can multi-select in here easily, but we'll just grab the primaries. Aprons and buildings, we'll bring them in, but they are only used by my preview option, which I'll show a little bit later on. They are not used by the game. The actual import happens when you close this dialog. And there we have it. So let's take a look at what we've got on the screen here. We have got runways, so a right click will select that. We've got taxiways. We've got gates. And we've got car roads. You probably won't have to do anything with the car roads. The aprons are brought in here, green outline, and the solid green are buildings. There's at this point in time, there's no interaction with it. With that, you get what you get. But again, it's just for the purposes of the preview diagram. So I'm going to save my work, and let's show you that preview diagram. Okay, this is still a work in progress. It'll be working when I release it, but I've had some spotty results of that. All right, let's drill in here on what it's going to take to get this ready to go from the game perspective. And it is mostly going to be about connections, and we'll get into that in just a little bit of time here. Let's start with the runways. In this particular airport, the way OSM has got their data is a little bit different. It appears there is a display threshold here. This is the beach that the planes fly in low over, and people are hanging onto the fence and getting blown all over the place from the jet wake. So there's a bit of a display threshold there to keep them from, landing on the beach goers' heads. So there is 2 of each runway, and that's looks like that's the reason for it. I'm going to delete the runway object that is not as quite as granular. So that's these ones here. And then let's go back and look at 10. You'll see that it's backed up here. I'm going to try to move this point back to here. And that was just a control left click to move the selected point. All your objects here are made up of knots, which is just basically a position. And these dimensions are all in meters from the airport center. Now on 10, I'm going to throw in a displaced threshold, and this is the only thing that's measured in feet. Now, there's a reciprocal runway here that we don't need to worry about the displaced threshold at this end. But the other end, these are separate objects. The other one, as you see, ends at our original spot. We're going to move that as well. So control left click. All right, the next thing we're going to look at here is, let's go into zoom 18. We can have a better look at this. You see all these red diamonds. They are an indication of a actual junction where the objects brought in meet at a point. The game doesn't recognize those as a proper junction. So we're going to fix these to make them game ready for connections. And the way we do that is, we've got a number of ways you can do it. You can select this gate, for example, and you could pick this this knot that crosses there and move it slightly across there, the center line of this taxiway behind it, like this, and that will work. Or I've got a little tool that if it's like that and you've got that selected and hold a shift, no, it's a control, right click on the runway you want it to meet, it will automatically extend this taxiway so it crosses that and makes a proper connection. And the third way you can do it is with a shift left click on the actual junction. It brings up this little fixing spot here. So what you see here is a very tightly zoomed in view of the intersection, and we've got a number of things we can do here. We can suggest a fix, and it will automatically take this and extend it over there. This will work in most of the simple scenarios. And then if we apply the change, you'll see that that moves slightly. So let's do another one like that. Shift, enter. It would pop up front, but I think it's a screen recording that's putting it to the back. Now you notice here that this green road is not named, so I'm just going to rename this to Apron. And then we're going to suggest the fix. I guess I should have renamed that afterwards. And apply the change. And you'll notice that this now has been renamed to Apron. Good time to look at the properties here that each of the roads have. This is the say name and the read name that you'll see in there, so I don't particularly want to pronounce it as a phonetic spelling, so let's try that. I don't know how the game's going to do with that. And then you can set your, you don't need to worry about the type. The type is taxiway, gate, runway, or car road. Width is in meters. And then these items here you won't necessarily need. For gates, the terminal type will determine whether it's an apron, like a parking pad spot, or an actual gate or the jetway. So we change that accordingly. So let's take a look at that. So gate A1 is here, and I believe this one is a jetway. So we're going to make that a 3. Terminal size limit. This is the size of the gate, 0, 1, 2, or 3, and this is likely a 2. As you can see, you're going to have to do this for everything in this site, so we're not going to stay on here and get it all finished up. Now the other place where the this gets interesting is the junctions here between taxiways. Again, that's just going to be a junction where it's sharing a single point, and that doesn't work for the game, so we're going to go shift with a left click, and you'll see this is this segment of road is all right. Let's suggest the fix. You'll see it extends it a little bit. Now, if things went properly, that red diamond will sometimes disappear, but not always. You can go back into it and you'll see that yeah, something didn't get done properly here. If I right click on that segment there, you can see that the angles are a little bit different there, and that's kind of suggests that there's a proper connection has been made there. I will add a connection testing tool to test all the connections, but that's a bit of work and I haven't gotten there yet. Let's see, what else can I show you? So you get all those fixed up. The taxiways, generally speaking, if they're unnamed, it's because there was nothing in the OSM data, and these ones should all get a name, but you can put a placeholder name on them. This is that's alpha, so we can call this we're going to call this alpha. If the name contains dashes or greater than or less than signs, then it's not going to populate these say names and read names. Saves a little bit of trouble wiping them out. If the it will still be used by the game regardless of what you put for a label, but things like the diagrams and the aiders won't show it if it's over a certain length. I showed you the gates. Lots of cleanup to do on this one to get it to work. And I will warn you, I haven't actually made an airport file that works with the game yet because I'm still waiting for the SDK. The other thing you can do is if there's something here that isn't modeled that you want to model, you can add, for example, I have no idea if this let's have a look at the picture. No, it doesn't look like there's an actual taxiway there. But if there was, it's just a case of, let's save it because I don't want to keep this. So we'll build a new road here, taxiway, new taxiway, and now we're just going to go and click where we want it to start. And it's an automatic add mode. And you can go back with a control click and move these points or crash the program. I won't charge you extra for that. I'm going to pause the recording here and fix that. All right, we're back. I won't try the same thing that crashed the program again. But that should be good. Now, some airports have the hold points are modeled. Let's have a look, see if this is one of those. Okay. Zoom 18. And what I'm looking for here is the saved gate roads is what it does for a hold short point. All right, this might not have one. Let's look at this one. I didn't check to see if this airport actually has them, but if they are there, then they would be modeled here as a saved gate road, right at the point where the hold short is. You can, of course, include other types of gates with your knots, and there's 3 different types that we know of here. One's a forward hold short, so that will be a hold short point that is in the forward direction. So if I was to put that here, we're going to call that, make that a 2, and then put the saved gate roads of 1028. Then that becomes a hold point, and that would be recognized by the game. The other type is an actual holding point, like we saw at Heathrow, and that is done by putting in a name, setting the gate type to 4, I believe it is, or 4 holding point, and then you can set the name and the pronunciation of the name as the name of the holding point. Again, that should be recognized by the game. I think I'm going to leave it there, and that should get you a pretty good start on what this tool can do. I hope to keep implementing a few more tricks like the connection testing, as well as anything that might be needs to be changed after the SDK is released later this week. So you might not see this version released until I've had a chance to look at the SDK. But watch for it on Discord, and I'll release it as soon as it is ready. Thanks for your attention. Good night.